Hi, this is Paul Evans. Welcome to Nicheology's 6-year celebration, the 6 days of free giveaways. We're going to begin with six-figure formulas. Just about a tongue twister there. 6 counterintelligence methods for online business. Now, there is a flow or a pattern that runs through just about every market, and that is they want to do the minimum for the maximum, and they would rather believe in the unbelievable than trust common sense. I'm in a lot of markets where people want to believe the unbelievable. Golf, for instance. When you see someone telling you that you can hit the ball 300 yards and hit it as straight as you can point, well, people, especially golfers, and I'm a golfer, want to believe that even though it's unbelievable. Some people simply do not have the physical capability to hit it 300 yards. Other people do not have enough experience to hit it straight. But we want to believe the unbelievable. So the opposite of that, the counter of that, is to return to common sense, return to fundamentals that are really prerequisites to all of success. So these 6-figure formulas are tight-knit principles that are going to allow you to see things that you've never seen before, to make gains that you've never made before, simply because you've been believing the unbelievable instead of putting your trust in the common sense approach to business. And the things that we're going to be discussing are going to open your eyes, hopefully, to things that you have missed and catapult you farther, faster. I really do not believe that online business is that difficult. I don't believe that it's hidden or that it's obscure. It's right out in the open, but what we tend to do is search for the obscure because we believe that that's going to be the answer. That's what's going to enable me not to have to do anything and suddenly find all of this success. Well, the anniversary of Nicheology actually begins on May 24th as far as the 6-year birthday, but all this week we're celebrating it with free giveaways. So your 6-figure formulas: recurring rhythm, market mind, authority affluence, value compression, and simplicity spinning, and mod squad. I was obviously not counting very well. So let's begin with recurring rhythm. A few years ago, membership sites, continuity programs, they were so hot. It seemed like everybody on the planet was telling you this is what you've got to do. And a lot of people immediately said, oh, that's it. That's finally the answer. I need to get a membership site. And people started membership sites like crazy without thinking, without putting any thought into it of the market and whether it was going to match it or not. They simply went about starting a membership site. Well, here is a 6-figure formula for a membership site or recurring rhythm. Repetition of need plus frequency. Repetition of need plus frequency. It was crazy the number of membership sites that were started in areas that people had no repetition of need and had no frequency. The market would have been better served by creating a $50, $100, $500 one-time payment product than trying to get people, forcing them basically to pay each and every month when that's not what fit the market best. There's got to be a repetition of need. There's got to be a frequency. For example, salespeople, preachers, eaters, golfers, associations, communities, gamers, parents, just to list a handful of possible markets that are out there. Well, salespeople and anyone who's heard me teach at all on recurring income has heard me mention salespeople. Almost every sales force, at least in America, has a weekly sales meeting where they go over what happened last week, what's going on this week, and someone gives a motivational, inspirational talk to get out there and make more sales. Well, there's a repetition of need and there's a frequency factor. Every week, frequency, every week, people need to give a speech or an encouragement or a tool or a tactic or a strategy to their sales force. We'll take preachers. What happens? every week, sometimes multiple times a week. Some preachers are having to give a lesson on Sunday morning, on Sunday night, and Wednesday night. So there's the frequency of 3 times a week. And there's a repetition of need. It's there automatically, time in, time out, week in, week out. Now, eaters, people who are focused on a certain dietary style, or perhaps they are diabetic, or maybe they are following a high protein, low carb diet, or the Zone program, or South Beach, or any of a billion other possible diet programs. So those people often have a daily need for something new, a daily menu, a daily plan. Repetition of need, frequency. I mentioned golf as an early example, one to believe the unbelievable. Well, this is another group that has a repetition of need. Now, their need is not necessarily true. It's not accurate all the time. Like their need may be to hit the world's longest drive. I don't know if they can actually do that, but I do know that golfers will continue to buy tips and ideas and concepts and drills that are going to make them better. They don't get tired of that. Associations, in other words, and this associations and communities kind of come together, where people have a like mind or a commonality that they repetitiously frequent that particular area. They keep coming back for it. And so that's an important idea to be thinking about and to be plugging into. Now, gamers, I don't know how often new games come out, but they're always looking for cheat codes or how to break through certain levels and certain stages. So if there's a membership site that every time something new comes out, they automatically know they're going to be able to get in there and get the answers. And then parents, this is an area that people often feel like, wow, this has got to be a hotbed of information or for hotbed of profits, simply because parents have the ongoing need of raising their kids. However, interestingly enough, this is not necessarily an area that parents will invest money ongoing. Parents tend to invest money when the problem hits, not before the problem hits. You're going to find very few proactive parents. Now, if you were to ask parents, they'd all say they were proactive. They would all say that they do a good job of raising their kids, or more appropriately, the best job I know how to do. But a lot of parents will not invest, sadly, will not invest in ongoing training in being a parent. So when you see parents, you think, there's a repetition of need, and there's frequency. They're parenting all the time. But I'm amazed at the number of parents who won't actually put their money where their mouth is when it comes to actually raising their kids. And I'm not saying that judgmentally. I'm just saying that there's the evidence of the market. So here's the question with this six-figure formula. What proof exists that this market keeps returning to this need without quitting or taking breaks? What proof exists? You see, it's a six-figure formula only when we begin to think. Only when we begin to look in and say, you know what? This is a recurring need. There is evidence that these people continue to spend regular money, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, or year in and year out, so that you understand how long their need is, or at least as long as they're interested in this particular market, that they're going to stay there. I find almost no one is asking this question about their membership sites. They're simply saying, I need a membership site. So-and-so guru said I needed to have one, because you've got to have recurring income, because that's the way to make the most money. There's no doubt that recurring income is a great way to make money, and it certainly needs to be a part of your online business structure, as long as your market has a repetition of need and a frequency that they are willing to pay for. So spend some time thinking about the market that you're in, or looking for markets that meet this formula. Second six-figure formula, the market mind. What is the market thinking, and what is the market feeling? So you're already seeing that these formulas are a little bit different, not a step-by-step structure in which you go, okay, step one, completed that, let me check it off. A lot of these formulas have to do with awareness. The better you know your market, the better you're inside the mind of your market, the more that you know how they think, the more you know how they feel, the better you are going to be able to serve them. The more accurately you will be able to come to the table with a product that matches who they are and where they are. Now, when you get those two things matching, who they are and where they are, you're going to find a lot more success. So it's not simply a process of saying, oh, great, all right, well, this market over here needs X because that's what their problem is, and I'm going to solve their problem. It's got to go a lot deeper than that. A few years ago, and it's still taught today, honestly, that what keeps your market awake at night? What's their biggest problem that keeps them awake? If you can solve that problem, well, in theory, that's a great place to begin. It's not the answer. It's the great place to begin, because once you know where this market is and what their pain is, you've really got to go deeper than that, because everything initially is surface information. Anything that we initially think we know about the market is just surface information. It's not really deep enough for us to get to the core root of what is going on. For example, a public speaker is afraid of freezing up, afraid of forgetting their words. Well, obviously, people who are public speakers or new to that stay awake at night thinking about that. They're scared to death. I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. I'm scared. And the number one fear they say in the world is the fear of public speaking, that can be argued. But this is a fear. So is it enough to know, oh, great, okay, they're afraid of freezing. Now that's all I need to know. I can go into the public speaking market. Well, you can go into the market and you can definitely make some money with the surface level mindset. But you're going to make a lot more money when you understand what's going on in the market at a deeper level. So a little bit deeper is that what are they really scared of? They're afraid of the embarrassment of 100 eyes on them. Because if they were to freeze in their bathroom during practice, big deal. It doesn't matter because no one's watching. See, that's a surface level fear. The fear of freezing only has any danger or any depth when people are present. So the embarrassment of 100 eyes. And what will people think? What's this group of people going to think about me when I stand up there freezing and I don't know what to say next and I've forgotten where I am and I'm just staring out into the great abyss of these strangers who are staring at me, and suddenly I don't know what I'm going to say. So what is the actual deepest level here? It's acceptance. The deepest level of this market is acceptance. And their fear is not just embarrassment, but rejection. And you think about that in human nature. Rejection and acceptance. Those are two core elements of our being that we desperately want satisfied. We don't want to get rejected, and we do want to get accepted. So once you have that in mind and you enter your market, and in this case it's public speaking, knowing that deep down what people really want is to be accepted and not be rejected. And so in my sales copy and in my setup, I don't simply talk about freezing. I end up writing copy that talks about rejection in multiple ways. And I write the solution or the actual sales portion from the standpoint of acceptance. Now, I'm not going to get crazy and say, hey, guess what? Every speech from this point on is going to be a standing ovation speech, because everybody doesn't necessarily want a standing ovation. They do want to survive, and they do want to hear, wow, you did a great job. And what does that mean? You did a great job. Acceptance. So in your market, you've got to go deep. What are they thinking and what are they feeling at the core, at the root of everything else? And when you determine that, that's when you start really making money. It's easy to stay on the surface, but it takes work to go deeper. But that's where you really start to break through and find some really cool success. All right, number 3, authority affluence. Authority affluence. You also begin to create a lot more wealth when you have authority in your market. Now, there's been a lot of talk in the past about being an expert, and people always get scared about that. I don't want to be seen as the expert. Think more of being in the position of an authority figure, as someone who others listen to. Now, we can say an advisor, trusted advisor, and all those kind of things, and those are all neat little terms. But the bottom line is this: that you speak, whether it's in video or whether you write a blog, but you speak and people listen and do what you say. That's authority affluence. People listen and do what you say. Not through any strange hypnosis or manipulation, but simply because you have formed a bond with them. How does that take place? Association and demonstration. Association, demonstration. Association is simply who you hang out with, who you spend time with, and how others are able to recognize that. Now, let me show you how I'm going to frame that later in this year. I'll go ahead and give you this right now. Since I'm in the public speaking niche, for me to talk about being a public speaker and being a professional speaker and getting paid from a very young age to show up places and talk, well, that definitely demonstrates that I've got the ability to do what I say I can do. But later this year, I'm going to be on the same stage with Zig Ziglar. Myself, Zig, David Ring, Kerry Wilkerson will be the only speakers at this event. And so, when I have my picture taken with Zig and we go and have a meal together and we're hanging out together, all right, so what is this going to do to my market? They're going to say, not just, okay, Paul gets to be invited to cool places to speak. He also is associated with someone else that I admire. And that's authority affluence. Because I can go to my market and say, here's the evidence that I can do what I say I can do. But it's something totally different when a person in that upper tier of influence also says you can do that and also appears with you as a peer on a program. So that's authority affluence. Now, where in your market can you go ahead and build some associations? It doesn't mean that you have to appear in public with them. But if you get an article published in a mainstream magazine in your market, that's association. If you get featured on a popular blog in your market, that's association. If you become friends with anyone of any recognition in your market, that's association. And then demonstration. This is twofold. Demonstration is twofold. First, that you are actually doing what you say you can do. You demonstrate through your lifestyle. That's why I believe it's really critical that I talk about my public speaking niche, my youth ministry niche, and this is for those who've been on my list for a long time. You guys know that simplesixfigures.com was all born out of my youth ministry membership site that does multiple six figures a year. So I'm not just in this internet marketing niche, but I'm outside of this. I believe that demonstration is really important. I thought it was hilarious that a few years ago, somebody that's, quote, a guru now, actually got started when they were unable to sell a product and make any real money in what we would call legitimate niches. So, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make another video about that. I don't need to get off on this tangent rant right now. I'm going to make another video that I'll put under this one that is the story of what I would call reverse demonstration. You can argue with it. You may not even agree with me. That's fine, but I think the story is really funny and in a sad way, not in a great way. But you need to be able to demonstrate what you're doing. Now, the second thing is not only you can demonstrate it, but that you have other people who are able to demonstrate that what you taught works for them as well. So you've got your personal story. Here's where I was, here is where I am now, and here's how I got there. So that's demonstration. You're telling your story. You're doing what you claim that you can teach other people to do. Then you also have students, people who also say, yeah, Jim told me to do X, I did it, it worked, and this is where I am now. Now, here's what we're going to do later on in this week of giveaways. Actually, on Thursday, I'm going to issue a 24-hour challenge, and some people who have never made a dime are going to make money in 24 hours. And I'm going to give you the tools to do that, the resource to do that, so you can keep 100% of the profit. It's going to be really quick and really simple for you to be able to get up and going, because I think it's really important for you to prove to yourself that you can get out there and do something fast that is also decent without having to do everything under the sun. But what this is also going to demonstrate, let me go ahead and admit this is going to demonstrate that what I teach works. And it's going to create some authority affluence so that people who may have never known about nicheology before will trust in ways that they would not have trusted before. Because here's an actual demonstration that this teaching works. Well, you can do the exact same thing within your market, and it creates authority affluence so that people start listening to you and doing what you say. Now, here's some keys. First of all, just be authentic. Just be who you are. And that's easy to say in a cliche, but I've seen so many people, and you've probably seen this as well, people who want to pretend to be something different than they really are, either so they'll be perceived differently, or maybe just because deep down there's a little bit of insecurity and they're not sure that people will really accept them. I say just be upfront and be honest. Be who you are. And if you're like me and you got a southern twang, you don't try to talk without the twang. You just go ahead and let it go. And if you're a person who loves to write instead of doing videos, but somebody said, hey, you need to do videos, but you don't really like doing that, doesn't really fit you, don't do it. Stay true to yourself. Be transparent. Let people see what's going on in your life. Just like I talk about the niches that I'm in when I'm training people to do business online. That's part of being transparent. You know, I think it'd be pretty dumb for me to go, hey, I want you to know I'm making a bunch of money in these other niches, but I'm not going to tell you what those niches are because I know that you'll come in and try to rip me off and take over my niches. That just doesn't make sense. So you want to be transparent and say, this is what's going on in my life, and in business and in life as well. Anyone who has followed me for any length of time knows that I spend half my time with 100X Missions. We build orphanages all around the world. That's a big part of me doing what I do the way I do it, simply because I love being able to give back in that way. But listen, that translates into authority affluence as well, because it increases trust, because there's some people who don't like it. You know, I have people say, hey, Paul, I wish you'd quit talking about the mission work. I'm not into that. I think it's really cool that you do that and all, but, you know, I've got charities that I give to, and I'm not really concerned about your charities. And that's totally cool. But on the opposite side, there's people who have actually gone with me to visit these mission zones. So that creates an authority affluence like no other. So what transparency can you bring to your business? Now, let me caution you. Transparency does not mean that we open our lives up so that when we've got this deep problem that you go to your list and you go, I just want you to know I'm depressed today. I don't know what's going on, and you know that you've got to be careful of. But to be transparent and say, you know what, this is who I am, this is the way I do business. I'm looking so forward to helping you create a new life or a new venture, or help your dog quit using the bathroom in the house, or whatever you're focused on in your market, that you are transparent and helping people in that. And then just being consistent. I get emails all the time from people that says, hey, I'm sorry I hadn't written you more. Why do they even write that? Because nobody obviously has missed them. You know, when somebody writes that, I automatically go, well, you know what? Look, dude, if you're not going to be consistent writing, there's no reason to come back and make this big, bold promise that you're going to start writing more, and then you just don't do it. You know? Be consistent in communicating with your people. Be consistent in the value that you give. Be consistent in the offers that you make. Not necessarily predictable, but consistent. You see, we live in a world where it seems like nobody's keeping their word and nobody's following through. And so when you do what you say you're going to do, when you say you're going to do it, what you say you're going to do, when you say you're going to do it, people pick up on that. And they notice that. So that's critical and that's important to put all of that in play, because that translates into trust currency. So now you've got this trust currency. And what happens is that when they see your name on the email, the subject line, they automatically trust that this is going to be good, or it's going to be worthy, or it's going to be something they're interested in, because they see your name. They open that email because they trust you. When you have some great information, they trust you even more. When you make an offer, they go, wow, you know what? Oh, Sue over there, she has not led me astray yet. So that's pretty cool. So, all of these formulas, it doesn't mean that you got to have your own product starting out. This authority affluence is really critical for an affiliate marketing model. When you're out there in a market and you're making recommendations, well, authenticity, transparency, consistency. Wow, these are huge. Let's say that you're in a highly competitive market like diet and exercise, but you come on board and you give honest reviews about products that come out on the market. And you take people behind the scenes and say, you know what, this great fat loss product or so-called fat loss product, I'm going to tell you that there are 3 really dangerous teachings in their product. The first takes place on page 14, about 2/3 of the way down the page. The second takes place on page 77. And then at the end, you can say, look, if you will take out those 3 dangerous concepts, this is a really good product. So I'm not making my 100% guaranteed recommendation on this unless you're willing to take out those 3 areas. Now, what have you done? You've demonstrated your credibility. You've demonstrated authority. You've demonstrated that you know what you're talking about. And listen, when there's something out there on the market that's being sold and you're willing to question it, that is definitely a credibility builder and a leadership builder as well. So that it translates into a trust currency. And that's when you start making money, when people actually trust you. Now, sure, you can make a sale or 2 off people who don't know you, and you might end up burning them because you're out there just sending them offer and offer after offer after offer. Man, how much better to earn trust in a market, to become dependable and responsible to your market, and use trust currency as a great way to make money. Value compression. Value compression. Interpretation plus conversion is this formula. The ability to interpret value and the ability to convert value. Now, people get started online and will say things like, I'm going to sell ebooks. I'm going to sell a $27 ebook. And I'm going to try to make as much money as possible. Some people should enter the online business at a higher level. Some could start out with a coaching program in the 5 to 10 grand area. You see, our challenge is we hear what somebody tells us we are supposed to be doing, and we see something like the sales funnel, the infamous sales funnel, where you bring all these people in with a free giveaway, and then you sell them a $27 product, and then you sell them a $50 or $47 product, $97, and then you move them into some sort of 4-week boot camp, and then you move them into the coaching platform. Well, it sounds good, and it can work. But if you're thinking, you need to think about your market and say, where can I enter the market? A couple of years ago, as a total experiment, I entered a brand new market, rented a list, entered a market. It was my first product in the market, and I charged $2,000 for it. Did not have any sort of reputation in the market whatsoever. But I used this formula, interpretation plus conversion. And yes, I made sales. For you're probably thinking, yeah, you made a $2,000 offer, nobody bought. They did buy. So value compression, and the ability to interpret value and the ability to convert that value. So here's what you're going to run into, especially if you're in any market like how to make money. You have this $27 level, entry level product. Well, if a person does not have the ability to interpret value, and in other words, they're not able to see that this information is actually valuable because they don't have enough experience or enough background, enough knowledge. And they're not able to convert that value, meaning they don't have anything in existence to prove that that is really valuable to them or to know how they're going to be able to use that information. Now, on the opposite end of a spectrum, let's say that there is a company or maybe even an individual who is wealthy, and they do have the ability to interpret your value. They understand that what you're bringing to the table is valuable. And secondly, they also are able to understand how they can convert your information into profit. All right. So let's look at the same information. Let's pretend that and this will be just an easy example, easy for me, simply because I'm in this market. So let's say that we're talking about doing web marketing. We're talking about building a WordPress site with an email capture device such as Aweber. Well, if you're online and you tell somebody, hey, we'll set you up a WordPress site and install Aweber for you. Well, people who are getting started and are not sure that they're going to make any money might say, well, you know what, I'd pay $100 for that, or I might even pay $500 for that. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you'll have a business who will say, okay, I get it. I understand how this website and me capturing the client's information, because see, our average sale right now is $1,000, but it costs us $500 to contact every new client, or to actually convert a person into becoming a client. But our existing clients, we found, are extremely valuable, but we're not communicating with them enough. We need some sort of process to be put in place, some sort of marketing system, even if it's automated, put in place so that we can convert more of our customers, because every conversion is going to be $1,000. So you talk to that company and you say, you know what, I can come in, I can set this up. It'll have an automated email system. We use a company called Aweber. I can start out with a sequence of email messages that are going to sell your current customers into your next high-end product. Most likely, given your current number of customers, given the average conversion rate, you're looking in the next 6 months of being able to increase your bottom line by about $120,000. And they go, all right, well, what's it going to cost to get that system in? Well, we can put the system in initially for 10 grand, and then we can actually run your system for you for $2,500 a month. Now then, a person who is not able to interpret the value or able to convert the value would say 10 grand, that is ridiculous. That makes no sense whatsoever. I'm not paying that. You know, I can get my cousin Bill over here to put me up a website. He said he'd do it for 50 bucks. All right? So you see the issue here. So here's why this is a six-figure formula. If you will think about the value that you currently have, and you can look out into the market, and I'm not saying we don't serve the lower end of the market. We certainly can. But when we look at the high end of the market, people who are able to interpret value, people who are able to convert value, you can take the same knowledge, the same information, and present it at a higher level and make a lot more money with it. So that's critical. All right, let's take something that is not in the money-making field, because people often say, well, that'll work in that market, but it won't work in these other markets. Well, it will work in the public speaking market that I just mentioned. If you're going to sell to an individual who's just trying to survive a speech, well, a $50 program, a $100 program might seem like a lot of money. But if you go to a CEO of a company whose ability to communicate translates into goodwill for the company and people buying into the company, then going and doing a one-on-one personal coaching program for 50 grand can make sense to the CEO. Let's talk about training pets not to use the bathroom inside. If you talk to one group of people who may have a lower income, they may say, I can pay you, 50 bucks to come in and train my animal. Please do something. I'm going crazy. But then you might approach the affluent and say, you know what? I can come in and dedicate myself solely to your pet for the next month for 10 grand. I know it, and you might be going, there aren't people that really do that. I'm telling you, there are people who will really do that. I know them. Some of them are my friends. So we've got to be thinking far beyond what is this little bitty amount I can charge and try to get all of these people to buy it. Look at the reverse of that. Where are a handful of people who are able to interpret value, to understand value, to convert it so that it's profitable for them? And profit doesn't mean just bottom line money. For the affluent person who has a $100,000 Persian carpet in their house, if you keep their pet from using the bathroom on that Persian rug, their profit center, it's radically different. It's radically different. So be thinking in those terms. Don't simply be thinking in terms of, okay, well, Guru said sell an ebook for 17 bucks. That's what I've got to do. Don't do that. Value compression. It's a huge, huge formula that you probably overlooked. All right, easy and fast, simplicity spinning. Do what you know how to do fast and easy. This is going to be a big component on Thursday. I've got an example here of simplecb.com. I did this earlier in the year. I used WordPress, Jing, got some graphics, and that's it. That's what the whole site took me, just a couple of days to put all this together. And if you're familiar with Jing at all, it's a screen capture tool, and you can record a maximum of 5 minutes. That's it. So no video on this site is more than 5 minutes, which is really cool. I've got great feedback from it because people are like, great, I don't have to be trapped like you're trapped right now in this video for a long period of time. But it was easy and it was fast. I didn't get out there going, okay, well, what's the best membership platform? I'm looking at 15 different membership platforms. Which one's best? Okay, well, should I use WordPress or Joomla, or should I go with regular HTML? Should I use Dreamweaver and create CSS pages as well? I see people all the time getting wrapped up in things that really don't even matter. It really does not matter. What's the bottom line? I've got a solution. I'm going to deliver it to the market. That's it. I've got a solution. I'm going to deliver it to the market. We get into all these arguments about what is the best thing, the best way. Forget that. Best may not even be important. If it gets in the hands of the customer, that's what matters most. It's better to get to market and make corrections later than spend all of your time trying to go the best route and never releasing anything. Okay, here are a couple of things. First of all, you've got to eliminate imaginary scenarios. This kills simplicity. You've got to eliminate imaginary scenarios. And those are things like, what if people don't like my product? Listen, if you're not selling a product, they can't not like it, and so you can't get the feedback back. It's better to get a product out there that people may not like and you can make adjustments than sit around thinking, what are people going to say? Again, that's an acceptance issue. That's the root of that problem, is acceptance. And we'll be thinking things like, well, I don't know if this looks the best, and I don't know if people are going to really like this, and I don't know if people are really going to buy, and I don't know if this price point is the best, and I don't know if I should use ClickBank or I should use PayPal or if I should get a merchant account. Forget all of those. Do whatever you can do easily and fast, easy and quick, and get it out. Get to market. Make it simple instead of trying to figure out ways to make it more complicated. Perfectionism, I hear this all the time. People say, well, I want it to be right. Well, first of all, there's always going to be somebody out there who doesn't like it. Somebody out there who doesn't think it's perfect. And so if perfectionism is the end goal, get out of business. Because we're not selling perfectionism, we're selling solutions. We're selling answers. We're selling information. We're selling education. We're not selling perfectionism. We're selling the ability to deliver content that is going to make a difference in a person's life. It's going to solve a problem. It's going to give them new information. It does not have to be perfect. I think perfectionism is deep down, it's an excuse. It's an excuse to say, yeah, I know that I said I was going to release that product and I didn't, but it just wasn't good enough yet. Listen, if this is an excuse that you're making, I want you to drop it. And I want you this week to pay close attention to what we're going to be doing, and I want you to get active. On Thursday, when I give you a set of instructions and something to do, to go out and pursue, I want you to do it and take that risk of imperfection and getting to market quickly. rapid imperfection. I had a buddy a while back that remembers me saying this. I didn't even remember saying it, but he said he learned from me rapid imperfection. It's better to get to market fast and make adjustments than never get to market at all. Now, that's common sense, but it's a six-figure formula because almost everybody around you is going to ignore that advice, and they're going to keep working and trying to get it right. Instead, just get it done. And then finally, Mod Squad. And MOD, Mod Squad, stands for Money on Demand. We're going to begin this process tomorrow. But it's about market plus message plus method. So you know your market. You have a message that you must give to them, and you've got a method of delivery, which of course leads to money. Now, when you know your market and you know the message and you know the method, then you can continue bringing that same type of solution to them time and time and time and time again. And you know that every time you deliver it to them, you know it's going to make money because you're following this formula. Every market has a core message and a core method of delivery. We're going to talk about two different cores here in just a second. But a core message, something that is at their heart, and a core method, a way that they prefer, there's some Southern for you right there. So they prefer the delivery, the way that they like to consume. Some like video, some like PDF, some like audio, and some like a combination of that. But each market has a way that they prefer, and so you can focus on that. So there's a core value and core complex within your make money on demand system. So the core value is a root heart feeling of this group. It's something that they hold dear. It's an emotion. It's an emotion. So let's use the golf market. The core value, the core emotion that drives this market is ego. The ability to beat the buddies, the ability to hit the ball farther, the ability to hit it closer to the pin, the ability to sink more putts, the ability to score lower and win money. The core element there is actually ego. That's the deep-rooted deal. When we're talking about the market mind, golf, there's so much ego involved in that. And then the core complex, the core issue is not being good enough, not being able to perform at will. In golf, we call it, or in sports in general, we'll call it the zone, don't we? We say that we're in the zone. That person was in the zone. They were on autopilot. They were so automatic, it was like they weren't even having to think. So that's the problem. The core value is ego. The core complex is not being able to perform at will or get in the zone. So when you pull those together, every time that you have a message and a method that is able to allow them to attain their ego and to actually at will be able to score lower, every time you come to market with that message, you're going to make money in the golf market. Every time that you say something along the lines, wow, how's your buddy going to feel when you outdrive him this Saturday on the first tee? Ooh, yeah, he's not going to like that, but I'm going to love it. Well, here's the thing. All of us know that when you're standing on that first tee, you know how difficult it is to hit that first ball long and straight. Well, what I want to do is give you a simple exercise that's going to put you in the zone so that at will, right when you step between the tee markers on the first tee and you place your ball on your tee, you're immediately going to know that ball is going straight down the middle and it's going to outdrive everybody in the group. In fact, it's going to put so much pressure on them, most likely they're going to end up in the woods. Every time I come to market with a message along that line, it's going to be a winner and it's going to sell. So what's the core value of your market? What's the core complex of your market? And that creates a money on demand system that each and every time allows you to make money within your market. Well, those are the six-figure formulas. You can go back and review those. Listen to this again. Do exercises, mental exercises that took place. Go through within your markets and say, how is this applicable to my market? Focus especially on the market mind and on the value compression, because those are two areas that are immediately going to be able to make a huge difference in your market. Well, I hope you've enjoyed day one. I know that if you'll apply this information, if you'll get it rooted within your systems, it's going to make a huge impact and a huge difference to making money online. That's what nicheology has always been about, the ultimate shortcut to online profits. And this week, I'm going to give you more and more that are going to help you shortcut the entire process of making money online. Be blessed.